Well, on the nostalgic critic, I remember, so you don't have to. Now I'm just kidding. It's David Giant 2B here, another movie review adventure, and today we're doing the 2005 King Kong, Universal Pictures, starring Jack Black and trying to think, Jack Black, Adrian Brody, and Naomi Watts as the main characters, and this is my all-time favorite version of it. It's a Universal picture, and it's probably the best of the four. Of course, there's one more after this that we'll be getting to, but anyway, in my opinion, it's my all-time favorite. And basically, yeah. So we're gonna do the 2005 version with those guys, and yeah, and directed by Peter Jackson. So this is a 3-hour movie, and we begin the movie with the Universal logo, and it takes place with Al Jolson, and of course it's 1933. This is a kind of a remake of the original 1933 one that did come out in 1933, and it takes place in the Depression, and of course it's basically a repeat of the original, but it's a lot better, and of course they give you what the Depression's all about, and again, I can't do anything, this is, I'm just doing examples here, fair use and whatnot. And yeah, so we start out with the Great Depression, and of course, Carl Denham, who's Jack Black, he's trying to get, into his next picture, and then he comes across, and he's trying to get Jack Driscoll, who's a famous playwright. He's trying to get him to do something, and he that needs a movie fast. And of course, he says we gotta do something random to get money because he owes money and stuff. But first, we start out with showing what the Depression's all about with Al Jolson sitting on top of the world song. Take it back to the Brooklyn Zoo. You have to love the Depression era start. It shows you that's why I think I like this one the best, because the other one was the original 1933 was the Depression, but this kind of represents what the Depression was, that we were in economic upheaval around here, and we were, and people were eating out of the trying to eat out of the garbage. People were struggling, because the crash of '29 really screwed this country really good, and it was a real economic upheaval, and it really gives you an example of. But anyway, we cut, and of course we cut to Jack Black, who's Carl Denham, who's struggling. Well, first we cut to Naomi Watt, who's struggling, and she's being kicked out and stuff. This is the Depression, and Jack Black, everybody's struggling. Everybody wants to make a buck around here. Naomi Watt gets kicked out of her acting, and she needs a job, and Jack Black is struggling. He owes debts, and they said, well, I'm going to get you a picture and stuff, and he's promising and stuff. So that's what we're doing here.
Scrap the picture. Could retrieve suitable stuff.
Get him back in.
Denham. I want the casting crew on the ship within the hour.
No, Carl, you can't do that.
Tell them the studio pressured us into an early departure.
It's not ethical.
What are they gonna do, sue me? Huh? Get in line. I'm not gonna let them kill my film.
Wait, you realize that none of the camera equipment is on board. We have no...
Black, who's playing Carl, you know, obviously a con man in this one. Like I said, I like this better than. I think the other one was kind of the same story. But anyway, so he's trying to, you know, get a picture, get some, you know, pay his creditors off, and he runs off and whatnot, and he runs into Naomi Watt, and of course, and then falsely lies to Jack Driscoll, who's the writer. Remember, the original Jack Driscoll was like the first mate, basically, and of course he says you're beautiful, and she is a beautiful girl, Naomi Watt, and he cons them all, you know, and of course they don't have any money, and they can pretty much trick everybody, you know, IOUs and everything, just trying to get everything to go to find, you know, make a movie and stuff, and of course Jack Driscoll is writing basically stuff out of his ass, basically that's what he's doing. So anyways, we cut to that, and of course he kind of cons Naomi Watt. Chancellor, to go on the ship, and of course they con everybody, and she just got fired and stuff, and she's desperate for work, and it's the Depression, and of course, like I said, this is a 3-hour movie and stuff. So we cut to that, and they go on their adventure to Kong Island.
Compliments to the chef.
Oh, Christ. Oh, God.
Man, this brain's in walnut sauce.
Jimmy. Run those rules up on deck like I told you.
Doing it now, Mr. Hayes.
How about return Mrs. Driscoll's pen first?
Obviously, with the original, they're kind of, they're just trying to do an adventure story. And this one, they're trying to seek adventure after trying to make a movie, pulling stuff out of their ass. The first mate officer, who's, who, I guess, African American guy who's, trying to make ends meet. And of course, everybody's, conning everybody here. And of course, unlike Driscoll being the first mate, he's actually trying to write the script for for an action adventure movie. Because they need, because everybody wants to pay their debts off, and Jack Black says he's finishing. So meanwhile, Jack Black, Carl Denham, Jack Driscoll is bullshitting everybody with a movie that doesn't exactly exist, and Naomi Watt's reading lines, trying to impress, and and they really don't know what the heck they're getting into. And of course, Naomi Watt meets her, meets Driscoll, and of course they have the love relation. The other one's more of a love story in the 1930s. The 1970s one was bullshit. Again, this is not for kids. This is bullshit. That's why I use profanity, bullshit and stuff. And of course, they're trying to escape from the creditors and whatnot. And so we jump to. Where they get into the fog. I'm just skipping ahead. And I can't do place thing for thing here. And of course they have a foreign crew and whatnot. And of course they come into Skull Island.
Wall! There's the wall ahead!
Obviously, with 2005 special effects and modernization, they do crash into it, and they make it more dramatic. They actually crash, and they make it more dramatic. And I guess everybody wants to be paid and stuff, and it's more, I think, more realistic than the original. Of course, the original one was trying to make it realistic as probably because it was 1930. That really was 1933. with Empire State being the tallest in the world. But anyway, they crash. This time they do crash, and of course they see the tribe, and of course the tribe are doing their sacrifice ritual exactly like, now we're going term for term like the original 1933 version. Probably a little bit more realistic than 1933 one in this version. Obviously, the 1976 version is just bullshit, unrelated with the oil and I don't know. It's just kind of ridiculous. I don't know. This one's more nostalgic. I think that's the disadvantage. But again, this is a more quality, and a longer film, but more quality. We're already an hour in, we just get to Kong Island. The first hour is basically showing the setup, and now we're actually into the movie. Now we have 2 hours to go here with the actual movie. And again, this is gonna be a short review, or I don't know, medium-sized review based on. So they go and they explore, and of course, Naomi Watts gets sacrificed, and of course they make it more realistic what the tribe would look like. The other one was more racist, 1933, and of course they actually had a movie going. Movie, and this was more racist, of course. And of course, meanwhile, Jack Black is trying to make his movie because this is the action adventure movie he wants, and before he even discovers Kong and whatnot. And of course, they do the sacrifice thing, and they have to do the rescue and stuff. And of course, she has, and of course, Kong does fall in love with her and whatnot. This is more realistic in the vibe it's giving the 1930s action adventure, like the Indiana Jones type vibe. This is 2005. It's more realistic. Of course, the other one was 1933, I guess. But again, you have the CGI, and it makes it look like. I think that's the problem. Is the other one was more of the studio, whereas this is not. Of course, this is the studio too. But this is more. You can tell is like scripted, more of a play. And whereas this one, you're seeing a more like maybe what would actually happen if there was such an adventure where people were trying to rescue a damsel in distress type thing. And of course, we had the dinosaur fight and whatnot. And like I said, this is more quality. I guess that's the problem, is you really can't compare, because the original was the original, and that set the standard for for movies like I don't know if this is exactly a horror movie. It's more of an action adventure movie. I mean, obviously the horror part would be King Kong, sort of, kind of, as he's elusive and stuff. And of course they do the rescue thing, and they have the fighting and stuff. And of course they do the adventure, and of course Jack Black is filming and whatnot. And of course there, you have the dinosaurs and whatnot, and very well done. And you have the misfit crews and stuff. You give more lines to the misfit crews. The other one was more of a love. This is a love story too, but this, you have the misfit stuff and the tracking.
We're going to be stranded here. Look, fellas, Miss Darrow was a great gal, no question. She was a wonderful person. It's a terrible loss, and we're all going to miss her.
I always knew you were nothing like the tough guy you played on screen. I just never figured you for a coward.
Hey, pal. Hey, wake up. Heroes don't look like me, not in the real world. In the real world, they got bad teeth, a bald spot, and a beer gut. I'm just an actor with a gun who's lost his motivation.
So I have to do a lot of skipping around because I can't do everything word for word. But yeah, Kong fights the dinosaurs, and Kong falls in love with her. And Naomi Watts entertains Kong and tries to make her dance and stuff, because he likes her dancing and stuff, and he likes her entertaining, because Naomi Watts is trying to escape. And yeah. And of course, Kong is you know, doing rampaging, blah blah blah, and of course he fights. And of course that actor guy that they did hire that didn't they pay, figuring out people die, and you know the same old stories. You know, again, you know, this is more, you know, the CGI budget and stuff. I guess she and of course she kind of likes him too. Falls in love, you know, the romance part of it and whatnot. Meanwhile, yeah, she tries to escape, and of course there's, you know, there's a battle between Kong and the dinosaurs, you know, T-Rex, and of course the dinosaur dies, and of course they figured, well, you know, what we could do is we could try to you know, just like in the original movie, the original 1933 one, we'll try to capture, and of course they, you know, they add more stuff, because the original was all claymation and this is all CGI, so they had more stuff going on, and they had more action going on, and you know, Jack Black, it's like, you know, let's capture this thing, and whatnot, and of course people die, you know, the first mate's protege dies, and this person, you know, you know, the camera dies, and Jack Black will do it for the cameraman, blah blah blah. As you can see, as for revenge, as you know, Jack Black, you know, that's why the only reason why he wanted to capture Kong. I don't think the original, you know, wanted to do revenge. And of course they have a scene where, you know, the Australian guy fights these big giant bugs. Probably added stuff that wasn't really needed. But that's the reason why they captured Kong, and you know, get, you know, like the original is just pretty much get the girl and stuff, and you know, and of course, you know, they captured, you know, use the gas and it scare off the natives. And, you know, I think this is better than the natives look more like natives, whereas the other one was kind of racist and stuff. And you know, they machine Tommy gun the bugs and whatnot, and you know, get themselves, you know, Jack Black was very upset, and yeah, so they captured Kong and bring, you know, the same old story, bring him back to New York after, you know, trapping him in gas and stuff. You know, it also was going to get his fortune back, and you know, they captured Kong and, you know, ate one of the world type of thing, because, you know, obviously he lost his film. You're playing with claymation, and of course they make this a lot longer. You know, you're 2 hours in, and of course the last hour is all New York and stuff. You know, again, you're playing with claymation versus CGI, and you know, times have changed, and now of course the other one is more fantasy, anyways. But then it's kind of like, you know, you think about it, and. But again, you know, I think this is a lot better movie. I mean, it gives you what the 1930s were like. You know, the other one was the 1930s. But then again, not just more realistic, but then it kind of gives that excitement that everybody likes. And it kind of gives... The other one was kind of like... The original was kind of like... It was okay. You know, obviously it's not the groundwork for what type of movies should be. And that was pre-coded. This is more rated R. Or this is PG-13, but it had more realistic stuff being shown. And then, you know, they do some chase scenes and stuff. And then, of course, the 70s was just total waste of film. You know, that was, you know, probably a waste of film or whatever Paramount had in mind when Paramount did that. I don't even know why they even bothered. I mean, I think that was actually literally a beat picture, that one. That was actually literally a beat picture, I think, that 70s one. So, you know, and obviously, they do like the 1930s, they go back to New York and they do go to the theater, and Kong is depressed because he thinks he lost Naomi Watt, and he thinks he lost her, and of course then he sees her in the audience, and they do a chase thing. They do a scene where you know, they're in Central Park, and you know, they're on ice and stuff. A little kind of goofy part there. That was kind of goofy, but it was, you know, goofy added part, and of course more, you know, CGI than actual electronics. You know, like, you know, so.
The real life hero of the story. The man who hunted down the mighty Kong. The man who risked all to win the freedom of a helpless female. A big hand for Mr. Bruce Baxter!
Thank you.
Even though it was Jack Driscoll that did the rescue, I mean, Bruce Baxter was a phony baloney con man. He didn't do anything, and of course he did react, and of course Khan doesn't like it, but he breaks free, and like I said, they have the ice scene and whatnot, and you know, they do and of course then it's like, you know, they had to get rid of him, and of course they had the same repeat of where he winds up midtown to the Empire State Building and stuff, and he climbs that, you know, 'cause they have to do like the original and stuff. And of course the other guy was kind of like, oh yeah, the price of a movie ticket and stuff, and you know, like I said, I'm not going to show scene for scene. I'm just doing it, you know. And of course, you know, he ends up climbing the Empire State Building, and they have to have the World War I planes because it's before the, you know, the Second World War, and they have a love scene there. So, you know, here we are, you know, the same thing where I think the original, I think, if I remember correctly, you know, differently, but, you know, she, you know, sang Beautiful, and of course you have the World War I, and of course, you know, Kong does fight these airplanes, and then, you know, he falls to his death, and of course, the same line, no, it wasn't Kong, you know, it wasn't them, it was Beauty that killed the Beast. You know, I don't know if we want to label this, you know, the same, you know, the almighty King Kong, he was king of his world and whatnot. And of course, you know, this is all CGI.
So cornered. The ape must have known what was coming. With the known animal, but no nothing. What's the matter? Airplane's got it.
It wasn't the airplanes. It was Beauty killed the beast.
So that was the 2005 King Kong. I think the next one is Kong of Skull Island or something, and that takes place probably like after the atomic bomb was dropped to explain how King Kong exists or something. I don't know. Instead of a mystery Skull Island or something. But I don't know. We'll get to that the next one. But anyways, that was it for that. And of course, that Kong Skull Island is 2017. But we'll get to that another time. But anyway, so that was it. But yeah, it's my all-time favorite. And again, you know, it's you know, it's the best in my opinion of the three, and probably of the four. And anyway, so this is Johnny 2B signing off.